Good morning, everybody. I'm up, had breakfast. I was thinking about my Auntie Kathy, it's like my mom. And I was thinking about, how we're going to be able to get her son out, my brother Boo, um, if they check like all the records and stuff, and when they picked him up and the times that he's always by my mom and dad's house, and the rumors was he's there to protect us, he's like scared for us and he wanted help. So every time the cops would find him, he's over by mom and dad's because he wanted help, because my dad was like his dad. My dad tells a story how Boo got in the truck and he's all driving all around and they're trying to stop him and he's like, yeah, fuck you bitches, and they couldn't get him out of Uncle Doug's truck. Anyway, that was my dad's best friend, and like those were the rumors that was in Covelo, and now that I'm seeing what I was missing, and my auntie said, yeah, you are the medicine woman. Yeah, someone was picking on my brother Boo. And he was out there to protect me and my dad and them. When I put down to it, like, okay, what was he doing sitting over there sleeping? He didn't want to shoot none of us. He didn't want to do anything. They just caught him with guns, He wasn't shooting no one. He was asleep over there, just quiet by the house, never shot at us, never threatened us, anything like that, So, I was like, okay, let's see what we can do to get him out too, because I looked back and I said, okay, let's see who's tried to help us over the years, um, come and be there for us. And it's like, okay, well, someone picked on them so that they couldn't help us, And yeah, I did tie it down to a couple of people, and I'm like, okay, here, here, and here. And I did. I told Aunt Kathy, and I'll sit down with her and I'll tell her and we'll write this shit down. And, like her name's Kathy Sanchez Freeman, Oliver, she married my Uncle Harold too. So she was like my double auntie. My uncles were the shot callers from San Quentin to Pelican Bay. Uncle Harold was running around. He didn't want to settle down. So he let his best friend, he's like, yeah, like he'll take care of her. He'll stay with her. I'm not ready to settle down. So Uncle W did. He settled down. He didn't run around. He didn't have other kind of women or anything like that. It was just my Aunt Kathy. Unless people tried to get in between. But it was just my auntie. And how much my auntie had respect. She knew I felt bad, when I seen her with my Uncle Harold or with my Uncle Debbie, because she knew it made me feel bad for my Uncle Harold. She'd be up there and she'd cook dinner for them and everything, but when I'd come, she'd head out because she knew I felt bad. It was just out of respect, and she loved me up and said, I'm going over here to grandma's, I'm going over to mom's, I'm going over here, it's because she loved me, she didn't want me to feel bad or anything, so I'm like, okay, so, let's see what all our family has together, because we got people in prison, like I said, like 2 years ago, I had my dad and them give papers out to, AIM, for Kevin being in the Boy Scouts of America, the little black box that made history from all over, from here to Washington, with the full of politicians and judges that were child molesters. None of them went to jail. And you know what? Some of them, and when you look at their page, because it's 836 pages, some of them are still working now. We run into them every day. And so I was like, okay, let's get the bigger picture. My brother Boo's sitting in prison for how long? For the rest of his life. We got freaking Debo Bose. He's or Daniel Bose. He went to prison for how long? And I told Gabe that. I said, when I was with Tobe, Tobe said, I don't like my family either. He said, I don't. They ruined our lives. And that's when he started telling me, he's like, why Daniel Bose got put over there for life, for pulling a gun out. He would have never shot that lady. He didn't point it at her to kill her. He pointed out to get some money and money for food for his kids. They didn't have no food. Everybody will tell that day they have no food, they have no diapers, they could find nobody to help. And they have no system. Who was all running all that thing? Jessica and everybody. Why would you guys go out giving diapers away? I mean, I said at first 5 in Mendocino County, there should have been someone giving diapers, everything else out. Daniel shouldn't even have been in that store. But then the girl that he pulled the gun out on, her stepdad was freaking a, what do you call it? Task force guy. Worked for FBI. So his case went to federal, or wherever he went, he got sent back east. Daniel Bose, he'd be standing back behind just like his brother and his other family going, hey, Trisha, we want to get out, like, we love you. You and your family's always been good to us, Like the Boses, they came from Sacramento, and they came over to visit, and change a life from over in the valley to here, And when they got there, all they did is they picked on him. They fought him, they jumped him because they were different. You know, they spoke different. They represented themselves different. And then they try to be like them. They try to dress like them, try to act like them, try to be gangbangers. It's like, dude, they came from the city over here to get rid of that, you know? And then that's why I always looked up to the boys, because, you know, that was my auntie's kids, you know, my Aunt Mary's kids. And my mom, their grandma actually helped raise my mom. You know, because my mom, she bounced back and forth in all kind of houses, you know. She stayed with Edna McLean's mom and dad. And then her other mom was Iris, you know, like auntie, you know, like now Irene. You know, that was, I wouldn't say Iris, but Aunt Irene, that was my mom's mom. You know, Debbie Aswell was her best friend, you know, and her son, she'd come up every time, you know, to visit. When we had the videos all there, and I told them that's why everyone stole them out of our house, because they didn't want to see the videos, and they didn't want to see that Foley's dad is OD. They got mad about that, you know, because Debbie would come up and tell us all the time, you know, remember, this is your brother, don't, when he comes up, you know, remember that your brother ain't going to be around long, you know, let him know who his family is, you know, and that's what I always said my whole life, you know, and I got picked on that too, for calling out and saying, oh, we got OD's other kids, you know, and it's like, yeah, he does have other kids out there. I have one in Yuba City too, and we call him, like recently I found out, you know, because they're like, try to say, oh, well, he's your dad. Well, you know what? He was my grandpa. You know, if he was with my grandma Vern, then that was my dad's dad first. You know, he was my dad's dad. And he always said, oh, you got little feet like your dad. He said, you know, you're a little guy like your dad. You ain't going to get very much taller, but you got little feet. And my head would always sit right here in his underarm, or he'd carry me right here on his shoulder. You know, we'd run from the rodeo grounds to the baseball place, you know, and he'd have his boots on and his shorts, and, you know, everyone got jealous. They're like, oh, we want our kids to be carried on their shoulders too, you know. And that was just because my grandma was one of his other wives, you know. So it kind of took into play, and then they all had like, oh, you had this power, this stuff, but you know what, it belonged to my grandma Verna Crabtree. It didn't belong to anybody. It didn't belong to none of those guys. It belonged to Grandma Vern. Grandma Vern, it was for us to light cigarettes, you know, and it was for my grandpa Willard Freeman when he went over to do fought Hitler. You know, how do you think he got out? You know, him and his friend. How do you think he got out and seen and trained himself over there what Hitler was using, you know, to come back and tell our people, you know, what's going on. That's why I said we were the code talkers, man. My grandpa was trained to watch and see, you know, and like they knew things was out there already, you know, that no one wanted to speak on that. So they kind of brought my grandpa and them in early, you know. And when you check out their ages, my grandpa Willard wasn't even 18 when he got into the army. He was way younger than what he was supposed to be, because they wanted to get out and make something of themselves and not get stuck, you know, like in the valley or in the city, you know. And he wanted to make his country proud. And my grandpa did. He made his country proud. He's the only one that came out of his platoon from fighting the Hitler War or the Germany War, you know, carried his dead friend or his friend dying on his back, you know. And here we are, you know, all our families, like, here we are just sitting around like, hey, can we get help out here? You know, we called Washington, D.C. I don't know how many times, telling them, hey, we are part of the code talkers, you know, just because you guys don't want to speak on it right now. But we need to speak on it because it's being brought through our schools. It's spread like wildfire. And that will be one thing that when we go to Washington, D.C., you know, because OD took me over there a couple times, you know, went with my grandmas, went with Edna, you know, and some of them were on field trips so that people like that's going on up in Covelo didn't get all holy and mighty and try to stop us or, you know, wanted to gain in on that. And that's a lot of things that they're all mad about too. And what also I was mad about is like Jessica's up there. They're all worried about wills. They're trying to get all our elders in there and all our people in there to make wills. For what? Why do we need wills? We got our own family for that. We got our own land for that. Jessica, you don't need to have our elders in there doing wills. And then when I asked, well, what about my wills? You turned around and got mad at me? Because, you know, Uncle Jimmy gave me half that land up there. You know, and I bet with all the elders, you know, one land, but you're mad. You turn around at me and say, I don't know how to get shit for you, Trisha. But why would you even get mad? You know, unless you're sitting around being nosy and you know what I have and you're jealous. And the whole family's jealous because you're running cattle or growing weed on my land. My land. OD gave his land to me. Jimmy Jordan gave his land to me. And that's why everybody's worried about these damn wills going around trying to find, because they know that they ain't gonna get shit. You know, and the only reason why they gave them to that, you know, Jimmy gave that to me because he loved me and my family. And that was my aunt Elaine. My aunt Elaine. You know, I talked to Nancy Hinthorn, you know, and I always remembered what she ate too. She ate a hamburger with Swiss cheese and mushrooms on it. And she was, man, kiddo, you can remember. I said, yeah, I'm getting my memory back and stuff. But you know, like he left that to me because he cared for me. He cared just for me, and people tried to get in on that too. You know, and it was just for me, and they got mad. You know, and it was only because I hung out with them. And then they got mad about when me and Uncle Jimmy and OD would go over, let's see, between Dresslerville and Reno. That's where he got the horses at, the wild horses and stuff for the Bronco rodeos. That's where we'd go. That's our family. And then what did you guys do over there? You know, we couldn't even go over there. You guys went over there and started messing all around. You fucked our shit up over there. You know, wait till they hear about Turlock, you know, and Lodi and all that. You know, you guys went down there and fucked shit up down there too, you know? That's why I've been all mad when I was talking about the Freemasons and all our people. You know, those guys from Covelo, they came to Willits and they fucked our shit up, you know? They started working with the cops. They started being narcs, you know? And fucking Sonny and all them had to leave, man. They all split apart because of people like you at Covelo, man. Jealous over OD. Jealous over my dad. Jealous, man. You guys slowly start working yourself out from Covelo or wherever else you guys are from. You guys took down our whole fucking ring, man. You guys ruined our family. You guys are jealous over our family. Because you guys couldn't live our lives. You know, I had people going around. I had one girl, you know, she out there used my name everywhere, man. Used my name. And then the places, it took me like 10, 15 years to realize, oh, dude, I confronted her on that. I don't know how many times. Why don't I remember? You know, maybe it's the same reason why my dad don't remember confronting anybody else. Thank God for Jeannie Freeman's husband, because he remembered. And he goes, hey, this is what happened. You know, that's what your dad did. But I go up there, my dad don't remember shit. He don't remember trying to fight someone. And with you, Carlina Batiga, he said he was going to fight you. You know, Jeannie's husband came down to Willits and was like, hey, your dad was down there, man. You should have seen him. He got out and everything. And I get up there and dad goes, no, I never. And he starts getting all mad and cranky at me. I'm like, dude, that's not my dad. You know, why would you even get mad and cranky, you know? Why would you not remember trying to fight someone, saying, are you using my grandpa's stuff? And I can hear my kid crying from Willits and Ukiah. But no one remembers, you know? Thank God for Jeannie Freeman's husband, because she's seen me down there in Willits. Oh, I was with Jimmy Sturgis, so Jimmy knew I was talking to them. And Kayla, too. Kayla Sturgis, they knew that I talked to Jeannie's husband right there. So we have witnesses. You know, and it was a story that I went and told them. I was like, hey, fuck, dude, this was going on in Cola, the holy shit, when it was going on up there, you know, like, because I wasn't up there. I was worried, you know, and then I have all my sisters, actually all my sisters that got their kids taken away. Guess what? If you check it out, there's only 5 or 6 of us, you know. We all dated fucking Jessica and Teresa's man, you know, like, all over Tobe and fucking Tobe, Speed, and Brett. All their men, all us 5, either one was dating the other one was had kids with Brett, you know. Oh, and Sally, you put Sally in there, they're hella tormenting Sally, dude. And like freaking, like she was one of Tobe's women too, you know. She was actually, it went for me and then her, you know, because I told him, go do what you want, you know, you're dying, you know, like, live it up, man. And he was seeing Sally, and you know what, Sally Alvarado is the only one that called me and said, Trista, I'm sorry. She's like, giving you my condolences. She's like, I know Tobe loved you. She knew he loved me. He loved me. But all you guys hated it. You guys were all jealous. You guys were jealous. And I started thinking, okay, what the freak, man? And then I started thinking, man, if Tobe wasn't around and he knew the good life that we had before people started fucking with us, he'd been pissed right now. He'd been crying, man. And that was another thing, too. They were like, oh, we can't let Tristan and Tobe get together because they might figure out what's going on, you know? You know, and just like I was worried about my brother. What year was it when they tried to run over Everett, you know? Fucking Tobe called me and then he's like, oh, shit, Kill Bill 38, you know? Kill Bill 39, you know? He's trying to kill your brother, you know? Like, one of them tried to run Everett over. I know you guys remember a basketball tournament and got mad, you know, at the little, cement slab up there. If my brother didn't hop behind it, he would have been dead. And that's when Uncle W stepped up. And my brother was in high school, and Uncle W was like, no fucking way, dude, I'm not letting him pick on my kids. You know, Everett's my fisherman, you know. Uncle W's the one who taught us how to do fishing. And Uncle W did. You know, and then you guys got jealous over that. You was like, let's pick on Everett and see what he knows, you know. Let's see what Uncle W taught him. And like, if Uncle W was here and found out what you were doing and found out what he did to his son, dude, he'd knock you guys the fuck out, man. I didn't see none of you guys hanging up at Uncle W's house either. None of you guys were even welcome. Not even your fucking parents hung up there. Mine did. You know, he's like, oh, you're your dad, you know, you're out doing this, doing that, you know, like. And I always talk to my attitude and my uncle. But none of you guys did. None of your family hung up there. You guys are all fronted out or something like that. You guys weren't allowed up there. He didn't like nobody. And that was another thing they'll growl about me of how I speak, how I talk. Dude, your own grandmother sat on my fucking table and told me about everybody. So I know about their lives. My dad had the biggest party in town, my mom. You know, grandmas and mamas sat there and talk shit about everybody. And I'm like, oh, you know, you guys thought it was funny before, you know, you guys sit around and want to be nosy and think it's funny, but don't want me to say nothing about it. You know, we all had separate lives, man. And the people that are picking on me and all those guys, you guys were never part of it. You guys were never a part of my life. You know, our family's lives. You weren't part of our life in the valley. And wait till you guys find out that, dude, the yellow car that I was talking about that went over for one of the baby showers. If I find out that that's why one of my boyfriends over in Sacramento passed away. And that has to do the same time as when our whole shit fell together. It fell apart in Willits when you guys got all jealous over OD and Sonny Bargert. Because my dad and Sonny and OD and all them are friends. You know what the old saying was? You could meet back in the mom and pa's shop. You know, the grandma, you know, the old sheds in the back. That's where the real men meet. You know, that was the old saying. But you guys got jealous over that. You know, not only that, it came down to like the wives swapping the cops that came on later, you know, and that was all because of those guys up in Covelo. That didn't have nothing to do with us. You know, they're jealous over one of their cop friends, their things, you know, and so they start picking on you guys, fucking try to blame it on us. And then the cops start picking on me and Tove again. And we're like, what the fuck? We ain't got shit to do with shit, man. We kept to ourselves. We kept to ourselves about stuff. You know, and it's like, you guys hurt my babies. We had cans hanging up in our doors to see how fast you guys were moving through our house. My little boy was fucking 3 years old when he seen shit flying all around. And guess what? Who I pinned that back down to? Fucking dumbass bitches that freaking helped take OD and all those guys down. You know what causes cancer? Stress. Stress causes cancer. Oh, and in the wind, we're like, hope you do die like OD. You know, you didn't deserve for him to be your dad. You know? Like, what the fuck kind of shit is that, man? So I hope I die a painful, long death. What was you doing? Sitting over there watching my dad? My old dad? And that's what we called him. All you guys called him OD because you thought he OD'd off from stuff. That was my old dad. Because we called Grandma Vern Tall Mom. And we called Ag Old Mom. We had Old Mom, Old Dad, and Tall Mom. You know, us kids had special words for our people. You guys didn't? You guys didn't even know what their stuff was. You had him out there thinking, oh, he's an OD, you know, like we're going to OD on drugs. No. He was old dad because he was our old dad. He was my dad's old dad. Because that was my dad's old mom. Vernon Crabtree Simmons, you know? If you could talk about the getaway of the getaway, and this is what got mad. And I can't even remember my family over there. I knew my grandma Vern stayed on one side, and then OD stayed on the other, Aunt Dylan's here, and another. And it's like, why did our houses go away over there? You know, which one of you guys from Covelo fucking traveled over there and ruined our shit? Because when I went to my first room, I had princesses dresses everywhere. I went to church over there. We lived a whole different life in the valley. That's why I said we lived the best of both worlds. And you know what? My dad and all them, and their grandmas and them, McNabbs down there, they had it fly, man. They can go in there and get any suit that they wanted. From here all the way over there. Because they call my grandma and all them, they call them Bonnie and Clyde. You know? They robbed the bank, you know, and gave to the poor. That was my grandma Verna and her husband's, you know, because she had a big heart, you know, and she always dressed in silk, you know, and when she was in her bed, I'd bring her gifts, you know, and I'd walk around her little thing over there, you know, that's where my Uncle Aaron stays, you know, and one year I even went around and made a video of her to see the Christmas lights because she couldn't get up and walk no more. Otherwise, she rode with us. That was a tradition that we went every year and looked at all the Christmas lights in Covelo. That's me and my grandma's tradition. But nobody knew that because you ain't part of our family and you never will. Don't you guys get it up there? Verna Crabtree ain't your family. She's mine. All the stuff you guys are using up there belongs to our family, man. Don't you get it? Aunt Duns and Grandma Goldie and all them, they were all family with Grandma Vern. That was our family. Our family. You know, and you guys look down on us and laugh all around. And then Courtney, you want to say, you want to laugh at the medicine man. You're like, oh, I know Ruben. He's so cool, huh? Dude, he laughed at Johanna for how it could be connected because you guys all been doing it. You know who you been dating. You know it's there. You know that man laughed at my daughter. But he's a really good guy, though. I don't even see you over Yuki Trails. Courtney, how do you know him? Do you know that he was up in Reading? Where my Uncle Leonard's freaking daughter got murdered? Can anyone fucking look into that? But he's a good man, right? He wanted to change that when he was up in Hoopa, you know. And Hoopa told on their people. That lady that was a cheerleader coach, she went to jail for molesting her children from her house. You know, and that medicine man up there went, oh, this is the other one. He's a darker one. This is not the one from South Dakota, but this is the one from that says he's from all over. And you think it's funny, Courtney? And then you're texting over to Myron, and you're texting over to freaking Amber, and you're texting over to Aunt Tammy, telling them, what are you telling them, that I'm high, running around? You ain't telling them you're picking on everybody too? You know, with your seizures? What did you tell with your seizures? You told all those guys you had seizures because Myron beat the fuck out of you all the time. And he didn't. He didn't. You told him that he had you locked in a freaking cellar over there? He didn't. You know, and that's what I'm pissed off about. You know, because that's, you're like one of the wife swaps over there, Courtney. Everybody in Covelo is talking about it. You know, and you guys are all jealous over what? Speed? I told you guys, I don't want him. I don't want him, never did. I set him up with half his women. You know, look at what his women done. You know, his women done. His one girl, Lovey, she had on there when I'm down here crying around about a house. She put on there, oh, I just want a house. I want a house. That she has one up in Covelo. Popping out 2 kids. You know, as Speed's sitting over there with Courtney at my Uncle John's. You know, and his other wife is following me all around. She's just looking all mean at me. You know, standing there like I'm feeling, oh. And all of a sudden her dad comes flying up. Didn't even get gas. Standing there and stood there and stared at me and Tiki. I couldn't even look at him. I just stand there like that, standing with my fucking head down at the gas station. How shameful. I would have looked at somebody. But no, I had to stand there like this. You know, and then me and my cousins were rode down. The safest ones I felt down with, you know, to ride down was with Tiki and them. But you guys are all telling my brother and them that it's Tiki that did that to fucking Sheena. Or not to Sheena, but to Sherry. Trying to blame my cousin Nietzsche. You know, I'm the only one that wanted him out. You know, and when I had some place to stay, you know, and you guys are putting that in my brother's head that those guys are bad, and they're not. They're not. Nietzsche and Tiki, but that was the safest place I could stay. You know, and the rest, you know, felt comfortable with them driving me down here. You know, so I mean, there's like a bigger picture, you know, and I'll go live on here, and I'll keep going live. It's stuff that I've been talking about. If you check out my Facebooks, you know, I got 2 of them. Everything's documented. Everything's documented for almost 2 years. I have 2 Facebook ones. It's got a giraffe on it. It says Trista Freeman, and it's a kid holding, or it's a mom or a person holding up to Mr. Kids, you know, because that was my kid's best friend. He carried around a little giraffe all the time. Check out what happened during that time. And that's when our tribal administrator up in Covelo, she doesn't even know that Jessica took my kids. You didn't even get permission from the tribal administrator to take my kids. You skipped a process. You know, you follow process. You skipped one, Jessica. Because all the administrator was standing up there with her Pendleton jacket on. And she goes, who are you? You know, and I introduced us. Do you know me? You know, and like, she's like, yeah, I seen you around. She, oh, the dead tree. I go, that's all you know me by is a dead tree? I go, no one told you what they've been doing to me for 2 years? I go, they took my kids and been tormenting us. I was like, did you empty your phone thing? Oh no, it's full. Shit has been full for 2 years, but I didn't talk to her like that. You know, I was very professional in there. You know, and when I went into council, you know, and I've been going to the council meetings for almost like, shit, I don't know, let's see, almost 2 years now. And what about when they held Jacob's breathing machine? You know, you guys held Jacob's breathing machine, Jacob, or what do you call it? Every Jim Russ and everyone on council and Jessica and all them want to say that my son didn't have a breathing machine. Shit, Kendra knew he had a breathing machine. You know, freaking Corey and them knew he had a breathing machine. Shit, freaking Leon's woman knew he had a breathing machine. You know why? Because the health center wouldn't give us no freaking albuterol for our kids. So we were all sharing. We were all like, hey, who's got albuterol? You know, like, fuck, kids getting sick. You know, for 2 fucking years, you guys did that to us. My son's breathing machine sat underneath the tribal council's little desk up there, and you guys laughed about it. As my dad come flying down, broke free from all you guys and said, hey, Joyce got COVID. She's in the room. You know, I don't want Jacob to die. Who was my witness there? Melanie Freeman was my witness. And then you guys sent CPS to my house. You know, they laughed at us because we was cutting wood and we was kind of dirty, you know? I said, you know, fuck you guys. You don't be laughing at us. Get the fuck off my property. You cannot be on our property without accompanied by ICWA, our tribal police. But no, Jessica and them don't want to get off their jobs. They don't want to go walk down the stairs. They're all worried about, oh, Indian stuff, you know? And don't want to get busted for losing how many kids? Jessica, you sat in how many places for ICWA? You set up that you sat on that NCAA board. Your picture of you and your kids sitting there representing Round Valley as you're getting money from Oregon. The same year, all those kids come up missing. You know, and for a whole year, you guys didn't do nothing but call me crazy. And you was more worried, like when we pull our minutes out from the courts, you'll see that Jessica was more worried about me posting on Facebook than speaking on missing children. They said, don't worry about anybody else's, Trista. Just worry about yours. I'm like, excuse me? Dude, I have a heart. I have a heart, man. A heart, you know? But that's what she told me. That's what they said. And then they said, you're never getting them back, Trista. That's what Jessica and them said. You're never getting them back. You're never getting them back. You know, when I got up there was like 3 witnesses. There was Elizabeth Redfeather, Melinda Lopez. When I got in for Coons Court, right? Jessica's so mad. She forgot what we was going to court for. She let CPS come in. Dude was banning the man off the reservation, but you called my daughter in for it. You know, you called CPS in for it. It had nothing to do with my kids. So the guys up there trying to, you know, they're all letting this happen. I'm like, well, let me talk about my kids then, you know? I'm like, dude, the judge messed up. Jessica messed up. She wants to call her a civil aid. We had who? Roseno sitting there. We had Otis Brotherton sitting there. And it's like, dude, none of them will say that that happened. Or they say, oh, it was too long ago. I'm like, dude, it was 6-7 months ago, man. But it's too long ago for me to get a piece of paper. You know, and there's like, oh, well, your life doesn't matter. I'm like, dude, I'm in your CLET system. I said for 8 years, you guys didn't even want me to press charges on the man. You guys made me stay in your guys' tribal ordinance. Otherwise, he would have been in jail for attempted murder, for threatening witnesses. But no, our civil aid and all of you guys talked us into not doing that. Otherwise, he'd have been doing more time. And then when I pulled out the case that I read, all you guys read all that case, man, and didn't let me know. It took me 1.5 years to find out what went on. And oh, was I mad. Was I mad? And you just sit there, Jessica, and tell me that we don't need no counseling, that my kids are too little and they'll forget about it. And then you told me to beat my daughter. Same story for everything. Dude, I got you on recorded when we get one of my phones. You told me to beat Jade. You said, oh, she's 17, you know, the rumors are flying around. I said, fuck you, Jessica. You beat your own daughter? I don't mind. I said, I'm looking into things because I'm a mother. How long has this been going on? You ever think of what he was doing to her head? I go, but you want to tell me to beat my child? You and Teresa Batiga told me to beat Jade up because that's what you guys do to your own kids. And you're on Facebook growling all around, laughing all around about, oh, what do you call it? My daughter should deserve to go to the rest pad. You sent your brother to the rest pad, Jessica? Now you sent your daughter? That's how you disciplining him? And then you have me running around saying dumbass shit about my daughter on Facebook and our family? You know, but finally I'm breaking free from you guys because Aunt Kathy Sanchez, Oliver Freeman knows that it was people picking on us. When we sit down and talk about Boo's case, Dude, he'll get out because you guys been picking on him too long. Because he was just about ready to stand up for me and my family again. I'm upset, you know? I'm upset. You know, we got little Tiny sitting down there. He's sitting down there in prison, you know? Let him out. You know, who was sleeping with him then? You know, I'm here at places, you know, you used to hear people talking online here and there, you know? And I'm like, okay, I'm getting little things, you know? Like, really? You guys are going to sit there and talk about my brother Winter's daughter in front of me? You're going to talk about little Tiny in front of me? You guys know, you guys made fun of how much I cared for Wint because he was my brother on my Sundance. You guys know how much I cared for Taupe, and you guys just still want to sit there and gossip and act like I'm not going to listen and say shit. Because when I go to Coville, you guys are going to beat me up and I can't go nowhere. Because I'm the only place to go is to hang out with you guys. You know, any other place I went, you guys made me look stupid, made me do this, made me do that. You know, and with Kenny, what about the girl you was recording? You know, walking all around in the field, and you guys were all laughing at her because you guys were running tests on her too. You were laughing at her knowing that somebody picked on her. You know, and you said you knew Uncle Junie, so then you know that it's possible. Then Uncle Junie didn't teach you shit, but Uncle Junie knew that it was out there, and you want to sit there and record that girl? You know where that woman went? She went down there and murdered 2 people in Orange County. 2 or 1. Now that's some serious shit. But you guys are all up there laughing at her as she's walking through the field screaming for help. How many other people are up there walking through the field screaming for help? But we got the biggest mental health problem up there. And then for those girls, you know, like the what do you call it? The news group. Dude, I always wanted to be a part of your guys' group, you know, and I'm glad that you guys spoke and stuff. Like, I'm proud of you guys. Like, dude, there's my sisters. They're back, you know, like, okay, Jolene, back, you know, like, because you guys are all the big girls club, you know. I ate hella food to be a part of your guys' big girls club. Man, I got like fucking 280, 290 something, you know, and then all you guys, some went holy.